This is the gear I loved, hated, and wished I had on my July and August through hike of Nüümü Poyo, also known as the John Muir Trail. If this is your first time hearing of Nüümü Poyo, please visit the link in the pinned comment below. Let's start with my biggest piece of gear, my backpack. I had a Gregory Diva 60 liter, and I hated it. It's very uncomfortable to wear, and I'm also interested in the backpacks that are slick instead of their normal material and you need to put a rain cover on it. I think it would be a lot more faster to be walking, oh, it's raining, I don't care, I'm covered already, instead of walking, oh, it's raining, let me set down my pack, fish out my rain cover, put it on, put the pack back on, keep walking. So, that's probably the first thing I'm going to find a new one of, is my backpack. Next up, my tent. I used the REI Co-op Flash Air 1, and I loved it. While there was a lot of condensation, the other people I talked to on the trail, there was condensation in their tents too, so at that point, it's so rainy and there's moisture in the air and it's so cold outside that there's going to be condensation no matter what. So, really loved it. It's light. It uses a trekking pole if you want it to. For a sleeping pad, I took the insulated Static V, which I love. I think it's really warm and comfortable. I do have problems getting the valve closed. You have to really push down and turn, but overall, I love the insulated Static V. I have a Nemo Disco sleeping bag, and I also love it. When I first heard of the concept of a woman's sleeping bag, I was like, oh my gosh, is this like where they tried to make pins for women? But different bodies do regulate heat differently, so it turns out it's actually legit, and it is really warm at night. It's a mummy sleeping bag, and then it has an extra flap that you can put up. My face got cold at night, so I would just turn to the side, put the flap up. Nice warm face. You know, you don't want to bury under too much or your breathing is going to cause condensation and get stuff wet. There's a pocket behind the head where you can stuff things in to make a pillow. There is an extra pocket for your phone, so you're not leaving it out in the cold at night, but you're not putting in your sleeping bag and you might crush it in the night. I brought a journal that I made out of cardboard and paper. Loved it. It was worth carrying and very light. My headlamp is from a brand called Coast, and I loved it. It clicks so that you can put it out in front of you or shine it at the ground. There's a white light and red light. It's a good thing to have. For this hike, it was my first time trying out a Goal Zero solar panel. And at first, I didn't like it because I brushed it against a rock and it got scratched up right away. So keep in mind, the surface is very fragile. And I also had to finagle with how I was going to attach it to my pack. I put it on back first, and that's when it got scratched up. Actually, at first, I just attached the top part of it to my backpack, and the bottom was flapping with every step I took, and it was so annoying. That was even before I made it to the trailhead. It was just in the walk from the backpackers campground to the trailhead. I was like, okay, this isn't gonna work. Can't do 211 miles of this. So I tied down the bottom and it stopped flapping, but then it got scratched up. So then I ended up putting it on the top of my pack. When I got to VVR, I found shoelaces and a hiker bin, and that worked better than carabiners and twist ties that I was using. I do kind of use my phone a lot for navigating and taking videos, so it was really handy to be able to charge my phone every day, besides the days of downpour. But I just made do on those days. Speaking of navigating, I also had a paper National Geographic map, which I loved. Some people didn't take a physical map, but I like to have both options, and it really helped that it was waterproof. Next, let's get into warm gear. My hat is from Australia. There is a fundraiser where you buy a hat and the money goes to Freeze MND. MND is also called ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease. So That hat I really liked. It kept me warm. I also brought a buff that I liked. I usually used it as a handkerchief more than anything else, but it's so versatile, it's good to have. I have an REI Co-op puffy coat, which I liked. It's pretty much like any puffy coat, It's very warm but very packable, so I liked that. My base layer top is from a brand called Stoic. My base layer bottoms are from REI Co-op. Liked those both. They're very warm. They're very quick drying. The Stoic base layer top is starting to get a little bit of holes in it, but I have had it since 2016, so it's held up pretty well. I brought very simple gloves that I don't know the brand of because I got them for free at a street fair in Maine. They have the name of a wireless company on them, but they did the trick, and they are very light too. I had a pair of wool socks that I only wore at night, which was very tempting on the days when it was really rainy and it was my only pair of dry socks. I really wanted to wear them during the day, but I was like, no, because if I wear them now, there is a chance that they could get wet at night, and I always want to have something dry to put on my feet at night. The socks themselves are from Darn Tough, which I loved. They were good. They kept me warm. If you watch my vlog series, you probably saw my Marmot rain jacket a lot, which I hated at the time. It got really smelly inside. I would do the wrist adjustment as tight as I could, and it still felt like water was getting in. But if you think about it, if you're holding your trekking pole, water is bound to get on your hands and leak down your sleeves a little bit, no matter what. So I think it's okay now. My hiking pants that I wore every day are REI Co-op convertible hiking pants. Love having convertible pants. Sometimes I want to wear shorts, sometimes I need long pants, and it's easy to go back and forth between the two of them. However, when it rained, they were so uncomfortable. Water soaked right through. They have a belt that's kind of modeled after a strap on a backpack, which is a fun nod, but I wish it was just elastic instead. My hiking shirt is Columbia, and I think it's pretty good. You definitely need to have sun protection in this area, and having a collar you can put up is good. Long sleeves that you can roll down or up is good, so I liked it. My sun hat is a Lethmic men's boonie, and I have a love-hate relationship with it. When I'm hiking up a mountain and the sun's beating down on me, I'm like, why in the world do I have a black hat? This is terrible, but I don't have anything else I can wear. I need to be shaded from the sun. But I have a really sentimental attachment to that same hat because I've worn it on so many adventures, and I just think it's fun to wear. I think it looks cool. The sunglasses I brought, got them for free, liked them. They were lightweight, they were sunglasses. The shoes I brought on the trail were Ultra Lone Peak high tops, and I did not like them. I think next time I want to try shoes that dry quickly instead of waterproof shoes. Water would always roll down my legs into my shoes when it rained, and then they took up to a whole day to dry out. Also, the first pair of Ultras I had, I did the low top trail runner when I did the Superior hiking trail, and now that I'm on my second pair of them, I notice they don't have much arch support or structure inside them at all. So I think every single backpacker out there's feet hurt at the end of the day. But I want to try a different shaped shoe and see if that can at least make it a little better for me. I also did an experiment on the trail. I bought myself 2 new pairs of socks, both from Smart Wool, but the first was running socks that had been more similar to the socks I've worn on past trails, short, very lightweight, and the other was hiking socks, which come up above your ankle and they're very, very fluffy. The running socks dried really quickly, but I preferred wearing the hiking socks. Sometimes I would be hiking down a hill and I would feel the extra softness in there, and I was like, ooh, feels comfy. I recommend Smart Wool hiking socks as opposed to running socks. Of course, I also had underwear, but I'm not going to get into that. My water system was 2 Smart Water water bottles with a Sawyer Mini that I kept on the one I was drinking from at the time. If you've seen my vlog video, you know that while I was crossing a really raging creek, I tripped and lost that water bottle with my water filter on it. So it was good up until that point, though. I like doing that because you literally just scoop water up, put it, screw the thing back on, keep walking. You know, you don't have to take really any time at all for it. So in general, I think that is a good water system. I'm open to new ideas, though, because, you know, I lost it. That wasn't a good thing to happen. I don't want a repeat of that. But it is so convenient. The water purification tablets I had, I didn't love. I don't know the brand, but they were the kind that come in a yellowish packet. And on the package, it says it takes 4 hours to purify the water, which I really didn't like because I wanted to drink the water sooner than that. You know, that's a lot of water to be carrying and not able to drink. But then someone told me that those are actually designed for like military use, where it's very brackish water and they're having to purify a lot out of it. So you can probably get away with just letting it purify for 30 minutes. But I think the best kind are the kind that come in 2 little glass bottles. And the first one is like iodine and it purifies it. The second one is making the water taste a little better. I think that'll be my backup next time. My cook set is from GSI, which is a brand that also makes propane, and it's called the Soloist. And I love it. Everything fits together and packs well. I've never been like, oh, I wish I had this in it, you know. It's called the Soloist, and that makes me feel cool. I'm out here on my own, not just because I don't have any friends. My beer can is called the Backpacker's Cache, and I didn't really like it. When it would rain at night, the water would seep into it, and like my oatmeal packets were like falling apart, and I had to dig in my pocket every time to find the quarter, unlock it, and other folks on the trail said their beer canister you didn't have to have a coin to open it. Also, I was always nervous about losing that quarter, you know, like what would happen? What would I do? So, Backpacker's Cache, not great. And last but not least, my trekking poles were from Walmart. They did the job most of the time. Sometimes a screw needed to be tightened, so they would shorten on me, which was really frustrating. Also, even more frustrating when I was like, oh gosh, I wish I had a screwdriver. And as soon as I got off the trail, I realized my multi-tool has a screwdriver on it. I could have fixed the problem. But Walmart brand trekking pole, they're okay. That's all the gear that I brought. If you really want to know the minutia of what exactly I brought with me, I also had a key to my car, my phone charger, a power bank, my permit, my driver's license, a debit card, cash. Bring plenty of cash. My National Parks Pass, which no one ever asked for. Toilet paper, tampons, toothbrush, toothpaste, retainer, floss, chapstick, toiletry bag, first aid kit, a quarter to open my beer canister, a pencil to journal. And all those things I just felt neutral about. Also, I wanted to mention, don't bring bear spray. There are black bears in the area, but you are not allowed to have bear spray. The ranger issuing me my permit said that was overkill, so it is illegal to have on the trail, and they took my can away from me. But what did I wish I had? How could this gear list have been improved? Every time it rained, I wish I had rain pants. That would have been so much warmer, so much better. A lot of times I'm like, what is the bare minimum that I can get by with? Maybe I won't bring rain pants because I'll just let my pants get wet and then they'll dry. Well, that doesn't work when it's raining literally all day long. Yeah, although they say my experience on the trail was kind of rare because it usually doesn't rain that much. Take that as you will, but still, it's probably going to rain when you're on the trail at some point. So I would bring rain pants if I were you. They are so much warmer, so much drier. I also really needed gaiters this is another thing where I was like, oh man, getting dirt in your shoes, that's just part of hiking, you know? Like, that's normal. We don't need brand new fancy products to make every part of hiking so cushy and perfect. Well, that was the wrong line of thinking, because especially the second half of the trail, I could feel like little bits of grit and dirt being kicked up onto the back of my legs and falling down into my shoes. And it was such an annoying feeling. I ended up wearing my long pants, one for sun cover and two to keep the dirt out, and that was something, but I really wish I would have brought gaiters instead. Also, I went out and got trail runners with the idea in mind that I wouldn't need camp shoes because they're so comfortable. But you really do need a second pair of shoes of some kind to cross the creeks. I saw people bringing hiking sandals, but I think personally Crocs would have been the best for me because, you know, you're walking through a creek, you don't want to bump your toe on anything. I could have even used them to hike in the rain the day everything was really flooded and your feet were going to get wet no matter what. If I had that, I could have kept my other shoes dry, and that would have just been so much more convenient. My inflatable pillow quit on me during the trail, and I did miss having that because I'm a side sleeper, and it's just so much more comfortable to have. It really helps me fall asleep more easily. Also, my hands were really, really cold when it rained. Sometimes I wished I had rain gloves. Other times I'm like, no, I wouldn't want one more thing to carry. And this is just what worked for me. I'm sure some gear I hated, someone else loved. What I loved, someone else hated. I always try to keep it as lightweight as possibly possible. Don't want to carry a lot of stuff, but at the same time, I do want to be comfortable and enjoy myself on the trail. So it's just a balancing act. I just wanted to make this video to say on this specific trail, during these specific conditions, this is how it felt for me. Take that as you will. Hope this video was helpful for you. Have a good rest of your day. Bye!